folks, so today we're going to actually do a quick little demonstration as far as like to get you a little bit more basically versatile within basically the interactive portion of InDesign. So I'm going to actually talk a little bit about buttons and forms right now. Basically, I have both palettes open that I'm going to want to work with. One is called animation, and one is called buttons and forms, and you can find them both under Window, Interactive, Animation, or Buttons and Forms. So what we're going to do is I'm going to, well, for one, I'm going to actually create like a ball of some kind, like a circle. I'm going to add some color to it, so I'm going to make this like a red ball here. So I'm going to add some just a normal red ball. And what I'm going to want it to do is I want the ball to do some animation. So I'm going to go to my animation. I'm going to go to preset. And I'm going to choose like something like pulse here. So what it's going to do is kind of like come out like that. And I want it to do it a little bit quicker. So I'm going to do like 0.5 seconds. Now I'm going to set it as on page load right now. Just so I can kind of like, I'm going to come back to that. But I want to just have it on page load. And if I click on my little preview thing, you can see that is what it's doing. Alright. Now I want it to loop. I want it to loop several times. So instead of playing once, I'm going to say loop. And I'm going to see what that looks like that. So it's like a little heart beating that's there. Maybe that's a little bit too quick. So maybe I'll just do 1 second and try that and see what that looks like. Okay. That's exactly what I want. Now, as far as like buttons and forms, what I wanted to do is I actually wanted to kind of like control that. I want to be able to like turn it on and turn it off simply by using a button. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go to my, any one of mine, if I want a rectangle tool or a rectangular frame tool, either one will work just fine. And I'm going to create a box like this. I'm going to fill it with a color. So maybe we go with like a pink here. That's there. And then I'm going to create a text box here, and that's going to say play in it. And I'm going to increase that size some. Here, say 72. And I don't really like that font, so I'm going to choose something a little bit different for this one. And everybody who knows me knows that I like the Avenir. Next is probably one of my favorite fonts. And I'm going to center that. And I'm going to make that, instead of black, I'm going to make that one white. So I'm going to make that one white so it reverses out of this. So I'm going to move this here off to the side. And I've got my little play button right there. Okay, now of course I don't like the actual rectangle, so I'm actually going to make it rounded. And this is something I haven't shown in any of my videos, and I thought I would kind of show it here. Since I like rounded corners there is this little yellow box. So if I go ahead and click on that, and I click, hold, and drag inside, you can kind of see it will create rounded corners for it. So I'm going to choose that. I'm going to select both of those. So I'm going to copy. I'm going to go edit, copy, edit, paste. And I'm going to move this one off to the side. Now this one's going to be my stop button. So I'm going to put stop in there. Alright. So I'm going to group these together. So I'm going to go to Object, Group, select those. I'm going to go to Object, Group, just so I can kind of like group those together. And what I want to do is I'm going to create these as a button. So I'm going to go up to my Buttons and Forms palette here. And I'm going to choose a type, and I'm going to want to make it as a button. The rest of these are pretty much for form elements that are going to be using a PDF only. As you see, where PDF only is grayed out, that is not a button per se. It's actually a category labeling that each one of these items underneath here are for PDF only. So I'm going to choose it as a button. And I'm going to name my button. I'm going to say play button. Play button. And my event basically, what is it that's going to happen when I hit that button? So, on release or tap is a kind of an anatomy of a click. You roll your cursor over a button, and then you click it, and then you release. And when you say release, it basically will initiate that action. Much like if you were on your iPad, it said you tap on something, it's basically that same action. That's why it says on release or tap. Okay. So some of the other ones is like on click or on roll over, basically on rolling over. Like if on click first, it's like if you go ahead and click but before you release, like if you click and it does something, initiates something, but it doesn't release. On roll over is if you move the cursor over it, it will actually do something, or it will do something on roll off. So you roll into it and then roll off of it, it will do something else. Okay. So we're not going to deal with on focus or on blur for this one, but we're going to want to do on release because I'm going to click on it. Now, with any action that you portray basically has some, or any button that you have and it's either on release, it will do something. That is what's called actions. So if I hit that, I got the option of go to a destination. I can go to a page. First page, last page, next page, previous page. I can even go to a URL or a website if I wanted to do that. Alright, but in this one, I'm actually going to say animation because now you're dealing with an EPUB or publishing online only document. So I'm going to choose animation for that one. Now, the animation is dealing with the circle because that's the only animation that is currently on that page. If I have more than one animation, you have a list of animated elements in this list. But since circle is the only one, we're going to choose circle. The options are to play, stop, resume, or pause, resume, or reverse and stop all. So I wanted to play it because this is a play button. Now, as far as appearance goes, because with interactivity, there's certain triggers that actually a lot of people will see. It's like if you go to a website and you click on a button, usually there's something that happens with the button to let you know that, okay, that is a button that is doing something. So the option of here is called roll over. So there's normal, roll over, and click. Every button that you have portrayed usually has 3 stages. Normal, which is what's displayed currently. Roll over is what happens if you move the cursor on top of it. And click if something happens when you click it. Now, most of the time you only see normal or roll over. But here we're going to go ahead and click on roll over. If you see that that's that light, or that's that blue color. I can go here to my group and I'll double click so I can get to the actual button color here. And I'm going to change the color slightly. I'm going to bring it down to maybe a darker shade. And you can kind of see that this is what actually will portray. Normal or roll over will be a little darker. Okay. So that should play it. Now I want to go ahead and stop it. So it's like if I click on this and I go up here, I go to button, and this one I'm going to call it a stop button. And I still want to have on release or tap, and I'm going to go to actions and hit animation. And I want to portray that it's going to do something with this animation. This time I want, instead of play, I want to stop it. And I'm going to go to my rollover action, double click this, click on that. And we'll go ahead and change that slightly to a darker shade. Looks like that. Alright, so now we want to go ahead and test what's here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit preview spread. And you'll see the animation is playing. Okay, I want to be able to have it interact with the buttons. But if you see, if I roll over it, you'll see the interaction is there. If I hit play, if it stop, it will stop. And it will play it. But I didn't want it to have automatically start playing the moment my page loads. So if I go to my red circle here, we're going to go here and you'll see that now there actually is 2 events that are actually happening within this animation. Because when we triggered something with the button, it actually automatically added that as an event. Well, we don't want to have on page load, but we do want the button event. So I'm going to go ahead and hit on page load just to unselect that, and you'll see that what's happening is on release. Alright, so now if I go ahead and play it, you'll see that that's there. It's kind of like there's nothing happening with it. And if I go to play it, you'll see it will play. And when I go to stop, it will stop. So basically, each of these buttons can control what that animation does just by simply having a button. Now, those buttons can be made to go to other places. It can actually go to other pages, and I'll be covering that a little bit later when we create a whole presentation using buttons and forms. So, alright, so hopefully that helped out a little bit, and hopefully you can kind of play around and see what else you can do with that. So until next time, I'll see you then.